Right, thanks again, everybody, for joining us for another Zoom sort of interview podcast. This time I'm with a guy called Sebastian, and I think the band is called Them Bloody Kids.
That's right.
How you doing?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. How you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Do you want to sort of start off sort of telling us a bit about how you got into music?
Yeah. Well, music, I was always surrounded by music. My mum played some like folk guitar, and they always really pushed me when I was really young to play musical instruments. When I think I was in year 3 when I played cello for the first time, and I played sort of a folk guitar stuff because from with my mum. And then I watched like School of Rock when I was like, I think it was like 12, and then I was like, no, rock music, that's what I need, rock and metal.
Radio.
And from there it just sort of sprouted.
Okay, brilliant. So how long has Them Bloody Kids been together then?
Just 3 years now. Just 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. 2018. That's when we started. Beginning of 2018.
Okay. So how many members are there, and who plays what?
There's 3 of us. I'm on guitar and lead vocals. Then there's Vane on bass, and then we've also got Darren on the drums. Our little scouse drummer, but he's very excitable.
Okay, brilliant. So what sort of, what inspired you then to get to be in this band and do the style of music you do?
Well, I think, initially the band came together. Me and Darren worked together at the O2 Kentish Town Forum. And it was just sort of a day after work one day, we got discussing he needed a vocalist and I needed a drummer, and we both loved System of a Down. And it just all sort of fell into place. We had a jam, and then I brought my sort of music to him, and he was bringing his like world sort of drum beats inspired by like John Bonham and John Dolmayan from System of a Down. Had that sort of vibe and brought it together, and it just clicked. We just worked really well together, and within like a couple of months, we had a load of material.
Superb.
And then Antonio joined us for the ride at the beginning of 2020 when we lost our bassist at the time. But yeah. It's been a good journey, but obviously 2020 stopped in our tracks a bit.
Yes.
But yeah, it's been good. It's been good. We're making the most that we can out of it.
Okay, so what's your creative process like? So who is there a set lyricist, or what's your process?
Yeah, I think we have our own sort of jobs within the band. So like it tends to start with me writing on my guitar. I'll write a riff and some vocals and sort of shape that into a framework of a song. The structure and stuff. Then I'll bring that to the boys. I'll tell the bassist the parts, and then Darren will come in with the drums, and it fits together really easily. It's quite a simple process. It's that every time. Occasionally we'll sit and I'll have a riff in my mind that I haven't written yet, and he'll start a drum beat and we'll just start that, and I'll write lyrics later. But that for me is a harder way to write a song. Right. It feels more natural when I start the song and I write it myself, and I almost get the vibe for it together with a storyline and everything sort of like the concept for it together. And Darren then brings the energy with the drums, and obviously the bass comes in and supports the guitar and the vocal line.
Right. So what music have you got out there at the moment then?
Well, we released our first EP in September 2019. And then last year, that was called The Angel. That had 5 tracks on it. And then building from that, we dropped another 2 singles, Show No Love and Freedom of Peace. That was back in the beginning of 2020. And then we had to take a bit of a hiatus with COVID, not being able to be together. Then we just dropped, on the 15th of January, we just dropped our new single, Do What You Do. And the video's just come out for that on the 20th. And big things coming up next month, or well, another month after, with the next single, The Demon. And that's all leading up to the album released in April, Radical Animals.
Who did the for the last one you did single? Who did the video for that then? Because it is quite a good video, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great video. Well, we worked with 2 cameramen. A cameraman who's just sort of does his own drone stuff, but he has a drone license because flying a drone in central London with the flight paths and stuff, we had to get a specialized drone expert to fly. So we got him, Damien, and then we also had Loki Films, who does all sorts of videos for other bands. He's worked with loads of great bands like Hacktivist and stuff like that, and Monuments. Loads of big metal bands basically, and he really knows his stuff, and you can just tell him the idea and he'll just work with you on the day, and he just gets it sorted so well. It's just really great working with him, and we worked with him for the past 3 videos that we've done. So yeah, it's been great to work with him actually. We've got a load of good footage.
Brilliant. So who sort of musically, who's the biggest influence on the band for you then?
I think System of a Down takes the bullet on that one, yeah, for sure. They were probably the main thing that brought me into more heavier, sort of more weird, extravagant metal.
Okay.
And Darren was massively influenced with his drumming styles from his early teens. So it worked. It was the main thing for both of us, and then it just happened to be both of our favorite bands. So I think everything pretty much stems from that sort of vibe.
Brilliant. So how's the sort of the series of lockdowns, how's that affected the band? I mean, obviously you can't be together, but you know.
Yeah, well, it's affected us a lot. I mean, we had loads of tours and gigs and stuff booked ready for sort of summer 2020. We were in Battle of the Bands to play Bloodstock, which we made it through to like the quarterfinals. All sorts of opportunities were coming, and then it feels like the world took a sort of just a big hit, and we've just been stuck in the mud, and we're just like, oh no, I lost all the momentum, sort of thing. Couldn't get out to film music videos because I went to go and quarantine up in Scarborough, where with my family, because that's just where I'm from. It didn't seem like much point to stay in London at the time. So I went up there, and obviously that meant that the band was apart for a while. It gave me a chance to write, but we had all the material and stuff. We just didn't have the videos, and we needed that content, but not being able to meet up really affected that. But we've managed to try and work around that in the break in November, when we had a little bit of a break from lockdown, or October. I can't remember which month it was now. Right. It's all just blends into one big month.
Yeah, it does. But, it does.
In that break, we managed to squeeze in some filming with the Do What You Do video. And we're now planning on getting another video film, but obviously we're just trying to dance with all the COVID guidelines. Yeah, it's you just got to do the dance. I mean, it's just hard. It's hard, but
so have you started?
We just got to try and keep making content.
Yes, I was going to say, have you started any sort of process for, when this sort of ends, maybe gigging wise coming?
Yeah, I mean, I've got loads of plans. I've been speaking to people sort of, I mean, with Brexit as well, it sort of meant that any hopes of gigging in Europe and stuff has maybe gone down the pan a bit. But we had some ideas booked for playing in Gothenburg in Sweden. We've been speaking with some bands in Norway as well. So we would like to go out that way and play if the paperwork isn't too immense. But I think realistically, closer to home, we'd love to just go and get in a van and just tour as soon as we can. Just tour the whole of the UK, just play in all the little towns, all the cities, and just get our name out there. Really, get on the road and put some graffiti.
Okay, so do you ever suffer with sort of like writer's block then?
I do on the lyric front. But with guitar and riffs, it feels like it just never stops. I've got too many ideas. I've lost count. So with lockdown especially, I've just been sat playing guitar and I've got, riffs coming out my ears. So, but lyrically, I'm getting stuck because it's just a very bland life sat in my home constantly. Nothing inspiring me to write any new lyrics. Obviously the whole world pandemic, but you can only write so many songs about a pandemic.
Yes, yeah. So you're based in London? Is that right?
Yeah. We're based in North London. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah. So, all right then. Let's ask a silly question now. What's the most useless talent that you think you've got?
Most useless talent? I'll probably playing FIFA, to be honest.
Play FIFA.
Because realistically, it's not getting me anywhere in life.
Okay, brilliant. What would you say is the best bit of advice you've been given?
I reckon be yourself and don't let what other people say affect the way that you are, and be what makes you happy. Don't let other people say what can make you happy and what can't make you happy.
Yeah. That's good advice. Good advice. Yeah, it's funny because I asked that question to most people in bands, and that is either the first thing they say, or it's that thing of just believing in yourself moment, and just go for it. What's the best sort of venue that you as a band have played then?
We played. So the Dublin Castle in Camden, obviously quite a famous venue. It's quite like a rock ska venue. The Madness have played there. It's like their favourite venue. Amy Winehouse played there. It's all sorts of things. But It's a great venue, cracking stage, really great little, just a packed in place where you can get enough people for it to be a great time. There's a bar in the venue. It's just like really good vibes. We had our EP launch there in September 2019, and had a great night, really good night. Everyone had a really good time.
Brilliant.
So that has to be my favorite venue, to be honest, to play. Yeah, at least that we have played.
Right, superb. So as a guitarist, then, who would you most like to collaborate with? Let's say as a guitarist first, and then a band. You know,
I think in terms of collaborating with guitarists, if it was anyone that I could possibly choose, it would have to be Darren Lankin from System of a Down, just because his guitar style, his vocal style as well, really inspired me within the metal and rock genre to push to do these things, these weird things with the sort of more worldly rhythms and styles. So it'd be great just to be able to speak to him about those things and see where he's coming from, what he could give to me in terms of that.
Yeah. So obviously the question about, you know, which band would you like to open up for? It's going to be System of the Down, isn't it?
It has to be System of the Down.
Yeah. Superb, mate. Absolutely superb. So, I mean, you musically, I suppose you've been sort of doing it for a number of years now.
Yeah.
So, but if you imagine being sort of like the younger version of yourself, just starting out, what advice would you actually give yourself?
Practice makes perfect, I guess. Just keep pushing and keep practicing. Don't I used to leave it weeks before I played a guitar again, and I wish that I would have spent every waking minute of my day playing guitar, so that now I would be like Yngwie Malmsteen, you know.
Yeah. I've got you. Okay, yeah. So the plans musically for any more singles or LPs, EPs? Have you got that happening?
Got the next single's out on the 5th of March. That's called The Demon. I'm really excited about that one. And the video for that will be out on the 10th of March. And then the official album drop, which is going to come with a little animated video, like a music video for the title track. And that's going to drop on 23rd of April, which I think is actually St. George's Day.
Okay. Brilliant. Yes. Yeah. So, trying to think, what's the most, you know, I mean, don't get too sort of deep into this one, but what's the most trouble you've gotten into?
Well, I wasn't exactly the best behaved kid, so I've got a lot of stories, as you can tell by the title of the band, really. But I think probably one of the ones that sticks out the most is always a funny story to tell. I used to go to boarding school, so I'd stay sort of 5 nights a week at school, and we used to go down and nick the swimming pool keys from the headmaster's office. And so all of the boys that were in my dorm would go and nick down. We'd have to be as silent as mice. You know, this building's really old, creaky floorboards. And so we get down, finally get there. And one time they actually caught us in the swimming pool with the lights are fully off. We're just all swimming in the pool, and we're probably about 12 years old. And they're just like, "Why, get out of the pool? What are you doing?" Especially this is like 4 a.m.
Wow. Brilliant.
So yeah, I think that's probably the most trouble I've got in terms of like something that I could say on air.
Brilliant. So where can anybody, you know, where can we find your music then? What's the best place to go to?
We're everywhere, but Spotify, got all the music videos on YouTube. Get on Bandcamp, on Amazon, on Google, whatever it is that you listen to, we're on it. Yeah, we're on it. So just search the name Them Bloody Kids and you'll find it.
Brilliant. Well, what I normally do is tag on a couple of videos from YouTube into the video here. So any particular choice of 2 that you want me to search out?
Yeah, I reckon go for Freedom of Peace and Do What You Do.
Okay.
The last 2 singles.
And Freedom, what was that? Freedom
of Peace.
Of Peace. Brilliant. Well, I'll look them up and I'll put them in the section tracks from the interview. So
awesome.
That'd be fantastic. Look, last question I've got for you now. Awesome. Okay, I ask everybody the same question, which is there anybody you'd like to thank for you being here musically now?
Well, I think there's a lot. It's a long list of names.
Yeah.
But I think most importantly, I'd like to thank my mum, because she really pushed me to be in music, and she believed in me enough for me to believe in myself, if that makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, just a big thanks to mum. What a star.
Superb. Sebastian, look, thanks for giving me the time, mate. It's absolutely superb.
Don't worry, man. Thank you for having us on.
And good luck with everything.
Thank you so much. Good luck to you as well, man. Stay safe.
See you later.